and welcome to Cafe DC. I'm Faz Rahman, and today our guest is Ms. Uzma Ashraf. And a very interesting part of her biography or resume is that she's been involved in some interfaith work, not just here in DC, but also in Hong Kong. So we'll just get directly into the conversation. Uzma, welcome to Cafe DC, and thanks for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
So let's just, why you think that interfaith in non-Muslim societies for Muslims or for any other person of faith is important?
I think it's more important in non-Muslim societies because of the perceptions, or rather I would say that misperceptions about the other that play a very important role in societies which are heterogeneous societies, not purely Muslim or not purely from one particular religion, but in heterogeneous societies, that's very, very important.
So basically, from Pakistan, you went for studies to Hong Kong. And in Hong Kong, when as a young Muslim woman, you realized that there were questions about your faith from other people of faith and from other faiths. So what was your first reaction when you saw that there's a lot of misunderstanding when it comes to each other? It's not just about Islam, Christianity, Judaism, or Hinduism. Basically, people have all kinds of different notions about each other. So what was, and I think Hong Kong is a very diverse, very heterogeneous society, as you said. So what did you hear? What was your first experience which made you work on this issue?
Yeah, I think it was primarily, it was cultural. The moment somebody gets to know that I'm from Pakistan, it's easier to pigeonhole people. So the moment they would say, oh, she's from Pakistan, she's going to be Muslim, and then the whole stereotyping comes in. And the second question would be, okay, so why you're not covering yourself? Oh, where were you born? Where were you raised up?
So perception is that every Muslim woman should cover.
Every Muslim woman is covering, and she probably would never had an access to going to college or getting an education, and they would be asking me the question that where were you brought up? Because you can speak English, and the stereotyping is a woman from Pakistan would not be that confident, would not be working, probably would never have been to a university or to a college. So that got me into this discussion or this interfaith field, which was not primarily for me from religious reasons in the beginning, but it was more from the cultural misperceptions that how people are interpreting.
Actually, that's true. A lot of people feel and believe that their religion is more of an identity and culture than just a set of some rules for them. And that's what. So so what happened when you were in a different environment? You saw some challenges from the other side, from people of different faiths. But I'm sure you also faced a lot of antagonism and opposition from people within your faith, right?
Certainly.
A young woman embarking on a type of work which has been traditionally associated with men, rather older men. So what was their reaction when they saw you moving around in different circles and working on interfaith activities?
That was very interesting. In fact, I would say that we as Muslims, we believe that when you intend to do something good or something positive, universe conspires to help you. So I was very fortunate that, yes, I was getting a lot of mixed reactions.
There's a way, yeah.
There's a way, and it was like there were reactions as well, different kind of reactions on the whole spectrum, from very positive to very negative as well. So people reacted, even some of my Pakistanis, they reacted to that, and we were kind of surprised or rather shocked that why they're reacting to this. And we understand the cultural reasons as well. It's very male chauvinistic society, and a woman who is not very traditionally covered or very traditionally dressed up.
Would you say male chauvinistic or male dominated?
It's chauvinistic as well, and it's dominant as well, male dominant. And this is, as you said, this is purely men's world, and probably that's why a lot of other people, they were giving me more respect. And interestingly, I interacted with a lot of people from Bahrain, with people from Saudi Arabia. The first event that we organized at the University of Hong Kong, we were fortunate to have Chief Imam of Kaaba in Hong Kong at the university, which was kind of a big thing. And we gathered more than 300, 400 people because of his presence which was last minute. As I said, universe conspired. So it was just a day before. He happened to be in Hong Kong, and I got him invited to the show. And then the university senior management, they came as well. And then the pro-vice chancellors, they saw the discourse of the event. And it was not with any bias, it was not with any ulterior objectives, it was not with anything to do with converting people or influencing people. It was purely academic platform.
And basically understanding each other.
It is basically the objective was to address these cultural issues, to address these differences, and to acknowledge them that we are different, yes. We are different. It's not that we are all same. We are different, but then we have to coexist. We have to live together.
So how did you deal with men of your own faith when it came to the interfaith activities? What was your response to them?
The other day I was posting something on Malala's that
The Nobel laureate.
the Nobel laureate from Pakistan, and I posted that she should not bother about those dissenting voices. Those are few. If she wants to climb up, she should not look back. And I think I did the same thing. I was not looking back. I was looking forward, and then I got wonderful responses from Muslims as well. I mean, from Saudi Arabia.
I mean, it's interesting you mentioned Malala. I think this is a great topic also to discuss, being a woman from Pakistan. And basically, you left Pakistan quite early, and then you've been in academia and in activism and everything. What do you think is the message is going to be when Malala received this Nobel Peace Prize? What is going to be like? She has created so much reaction and so many waves around the world. As a Pakistani woman, what do you feel about it?
I feel totally proud.
Is it going to change anything in Pakistan for you and for your fellow women?
I think unfortunately it's about the context. It's about the happening of the events right now in the part of the world which we call Pakistan. Their stuff, we have been into this war on terror for the last 10 years, more than 10 years. And these things are not that will be taken care of in a day. So getting prize by Malala is a big thing, and that's going to influence a lot. And we are all trying to make a little bit of difference wherever we can in our own limited sphere. But then it's the whole society that evolves. It's the whole society that gets more tolerant. And I would say she's doing this remarkable job by focusing on literacy, on educating people.
And
because
girls,
I feel like education is the basic thing.
Yeah.
I come from a very humble background, from a very lower end of the society. And I had made my way at the top positions in Pakistan.
MashaAllah, no, we are very proud of your accomplishments. Uzma, you have done very well, not just for you, and you've been an example for various, so many other girls in your society, from your society. I know you have to rush to another important meeting from here. I wish I could continue and touch upon various other topics, but we have to finish here. And hopefully you will be back here soon, and we can talk about those issues later, inshallah.
Pleasure talking
Thanks
to you.
very much for joining us. Thank you very much for watching this special episode of Cafe DC. I'm Faiz Rahman. Please continue to watch us on UrduViewer.com.